digital alignment is poor, first of all. And the reason I say that is that a lot of people still think that digital is either an app or your website or it's a channel, which is cool, but then you're missing the point. And Raga was talking about the combinatorial power of leveraging many different digital technologies. And I think that's quite important. So first of all, I think a lot of execs miss the point. The second thing is that if you take how sort of prepared and how strategic are we around that, I think a lot of people are also relying on best practice. So we still, you're applying for the job, but you don't really have the new skill set. And we're preparing our company for the future without actually understanding some of these technologies. But it's almost human nature. So as Abdullah was talking about, it's either sociology or behavioral economics. We're comfortable with where we are, and this is how it always works, so we'll just sort of subtly change a couple of things. And there's something that I'm sort of pushing quite hard, which is a theme around how it's actually risky to play it safe. Or maybe to put it another way, playing it safe is risky because we use best practice. And best practice says, this is how we should be doing it, so we're going to use that because Google did it, or Amazon did it, or Netflix did it. But best practice can be misleading. So best practice, for example, best practice, like you may have been told, never get in the car with strangers. Remember that? But some of you came here on Uber, I'm sure of it, You got into the car with a stranger, you're quite happy, and off you go, and that was it. You were cool like that. So best practice will hold us back. Or for example, never trust anyone you meet on the internet. But some of you may have maybe even met up with some sort of close acquaintances on Tinder or Grindr. But that's how we meet in the new world, whereas before it was like, no, you can't trust the interweb, it's bad. Now that's where we do all our meeting, and a lot of couples now, over 50% in the US, actually getting married now, meet up online. So it's a whole new world. So best practice, we've got to almost let go of that, and that's the scary thing, Jeff. You've got to be brave and bold, and you've got to go for it. And for me, it's a bit like riding a bike. You ride a bike now, and you maybe think about it's pretty easy, but it's daunting initially because you go, what is this? You're talking about drones and autonomous driving and that kind of stuff. It's scary. But you've got to try. You've got to just try and get your feet wet first. And the minute you try, you're infinitely more prepared than your competitors to actually give it a go. I think that trying is actually the key skill you want to get right, particularly in this digital age where the risks are fairly low for getting it wrong. Don't just play with drones. Or don't just play with computer vision. Play with lots of things at a time. So the Amazon Go store that Abdullah showed earlier, that's probably the way you want to go, which is combining a whole load of things and testing it. And yes, they tested it in one store first of all, and once they did that for a while, they got it right, and they went public. So that's the kind of thing. If you're going to do it well, but do lots of little things and go for it. And don't be scared of failure. One of the leading CEOs, and it was actually quoted in one of these research papers now, I said, I'm never going to fire anyone for trying something. I think that's quite good advice. As long as you had something in mind, which is two things. One, did you have some sort of plan you were trying to experiment around? And if you failed, did you tell the whole firm? So we don't make that mistake again. If you did that, no one will be fired. And if you do that, that's the kind of political, executive, high-level cover you need to be able to take the risks. Because innovation is actually a contact sport. You're not going to get it right. The best incubators for incubating these great businesses is Y Combinator. They've got about an 8% strike rate. 8% of the time they get it right. Now, we train to think that 80, 90% is a pass rate. But in this new sort of innovation space, 8% is pretty good. And we need to basically teach our coach our execs that actually there's a high failure rate. But as long as we learn along the way, we're actually going to do well.